through this ritual every 4 years.
That's a very good word.
Every ritual. 4 years, and nothing has come out of it, because we've always had debates. We've had manifestos. We've had wants, desires, needs of a people. How come when these are not met, when we have the opportunity of changing it or causing them to affect what we want as a people, we don't seem to get it?
Who is we now? I mean,
the Nigerian people. Because if we have an opportunity every 4 years to come put the country right as to what you have just espoused now,
yes,
and we miss it, why is it that we still, get so excited to go through that process? And
because politicians give money. That's why, number one. Two, because the national order dispossesses Nigerians. Do you think your vote counts? I don't think so. Your vote doesn't mean anything to the politicians. I don't know the chairman of my local government, and our elections are taking place. Don't you see the way Obama campaigned? Campaigns by the two parties opened only about 2 days ago, and the elections are, say, a month to go. Elections are a serious business. It is door to door. It took Obama about 2 years to gear up for his campaign. In Nigeria, it's a month.
Doesn't the Electoral Act make it such?
Electoral Act does not talk about whether or not you cannot begin to organize and order your campaign. It doesn't say so. So when the Electoral Act opens the campaign, you are good to go. But I was surprised. Maybe I'm the only one saying this. Maybe I'm seeing like a 2-year-old. But I was surprised that presidential aspirants are only campaigning a month to go. How do they expect to persuade 160, 70, or 80 million people?
Would you say that this is, this national order discussion is more at that level of elitism, so that this is something that only the elites are bothered about? Because so far, much as people think that this country needs to be reordered, they believe that it needs to be done within the confines of a national conference. And it would seem that so far, so good. Even the modalities to have that national conference is always in very hot contention. At least you saw what transpired before this one could hold.
Absolutely. But remember, it is the political elite that drives the process. When I see guys, train drivers or shopkeepers in the UK, I don't think they contribute to any process, because they allow the elite to drive the process. In Nigeria, the elite is not as strong as it ought to be. And they're discontent because they've seen the political class take the space to their exclusion. And that's the challenge. So it's unless you begin to think through a process by which, like Sulai says, we don't go through the ritual. For me, it's going to be 2019, another ritual. 2024, another ritual. Nothing is changing. And by that time, I shall be probably 75. So we need to take the bull by the horn and say, look, Nigeria isn't working. Are you afraid to say so? It isn't working. It's not working. If I had 30 fought for pro-democracy and I am now 61, can you tell me it's working?
What do you think were the constraints at that national conference for you? Because you were there, and we did see heated discussions, around certain things. We saw people grouped into committees to come up with certain solutions. What were the constraints for you?
Statesmanship, give and take. Traffic jam, you are angry because you're stuck in the traffic for 2 hours, but Chamberlain wants to come in. You're a gentleman enough to say, come in. We're all angry, and nobody could stop and pause to say, but wait a minute, what's wrong with actually deconstructing the federal government and giving power? The federal government has 168 items of power. My take is that you must devolve it. Tony Blair was a statesman, used the Good Friday Agreement to resolve the IRA problem by devolving power to Northern Ireland. You know that Scotland tried to get independence. It was countered. The national order countered it by devolving more powers to Scotland. You've got to give. But if the federal government takes all the money, takes all the power, nobody wants to be at the bottom. So the scramble is for President of Nigeria come 2015.
But again, you'll find out that politicians, some politicians are not even helping matters. Look at maybe the constitution we're trying to review and the talk of giving autonomy to the local government. You'll be shocked to see some local government administrators sit there and tell you that we don't want autonomy. We want it to still come through maybe the state or the center.
Money has been put in their pockets by their governors. That's the reason. That's all. How can the man not want autonomy? Money has been passed to him.
So they love the distance.
Huh?
So they love that distance you talked about.
They're not interested. Most local government people wait for the statutory allocation to come from the federation down to the state, and then it goes to the local government. Once they're paid, they close their doors and they go home.
Do you think that anything is going to change with our dwindling fortunes in oil? Because some people say that it's a great opportunity.
I wish oil would go to $5 so that we can wake up. Oil has been a massive resource cost and we're not thinking. So when oil dries up, shipping is my field. I can generate 7 trillion naira, twice the national budget, because it's there. Crude oil, we allow the IOCs to excavate crude, but there are 4 critical byproducts in crude: legal services, shipping, banking, and insurance. That's just in the field of services. ExxonMobil, but my friend Kachuku will deny this, ExxonMobil has a $10 billion spend, legal spend. Not a single Nigerian lawyer benefits. What they do is they send us emails from abroad. Say, fill up these forms, pay you peanuts. So until we have a national order that recognizes the need to make our country economically sufficient and developing, it will be a scramble for the naira.
Okay, I'm looking through some questions here, but okay, what we'll do is we'll take a break. We'll be back to continue on this. Join us again.